My next guest is a young Norfolk native who is wise beyond his years. He has many accomplishments and has high aspirations for the future. Chase, welcome to the show, and thanks for making time to be here today.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
No problem, dude. No problem. I know we've been talking about doing this for quite a while.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You've helped me with a lot of the ins and outs of setting all this up and setting up the stream stuff, and it's been a
Oh
long
yeah.
road,
It's
but
it's been a fun process. That's for sure.
it's been a great process. I wanted to get you on because I know you are. You're just like I said in the intro. You're just wise beyond your years. You're young. How old are you?
19, almost 20. That's crazy.
You're in the middle of your second year of college.
Yes. Yep. I'll be a second semester sophomore here soon. So it's crazy. Life's wild right now. I'm experiencing a lot of new things. It's fun.
Good. We'll get into more college here in a little bit, but I kind of wanted to go through your high school experience.
Yeah.
Here in Norfolk.
Yeah. So I guess funny story. I've been in and out of different private and public schools. Growing up, I went to a public school, then I switched to a private school for I think it was 5th through 8th grade, and then in high school, I decided to switch back to public school. So there was a lot of changing dynamics with a lot of different things.
Was that your decision, or was that kind of a mutual decision between you and your parents?
I guess switching to the private school from 5th to 8th grade was kind of my parents' decision, but also me. Like, I was okay with it. They thought it'd be a good thing for me. I was going to a Lutheran school, but I guess I went through a lot in those 4 years at that private school, and I just kind of thought it was best to switch to back to the public school setting. Especially just there was a lot more range of people, different groups I could fit into, and just bigger opportunities for me. So that was a big reason I wanted to switch. I guess there's so much to tell you, I guess, about high school. What do y'all want to hear?
Well, I mean, how was your high school experience at the senior high?
I would say my experience was honestly amazing. I cannot fathom where I would be or what I would be doing right now if I hadn't gone to Norfolk High. One of the biggest things, biggest takeaways, I guess, was tennis, which you know this. Nobody else does though. I'm a tennis player. I actually play tennis in college right now. And I never thought that tennis would be a sport I'd play. I never thought anything of it. I grew up playing basketball, football. I was a thrower in track. And I went to high school, and I went from a school with like 300 people to a high school with over 1,000 kids. And it was just the biggest adjustment ever. And so I was really, really afraid to go play basketball or football with these massive teams. And so my freshman year of high school, I was like, to my parents, I was like, guys, I don't know that I want to go do this. This is terrifying. Actually, I tried out for the basketball team and I got cut. That was terrible. I didn't even want to mess with football. I did do track, and that went really well, actually. I was a great track thrower. I did discus and shot put. Love discus. But since I was just kind of only doing track in high school, my mom and dad were like, dude, you gotta go do something else. Like, you can't just be sitting in your room all the time doing nothing. You need to go play some sports. And so I was like, what am I going to go do? Like, I don't like soccer, don't like baseball. And my mom was like, I played tennis in high school. You should go try that. And I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, I don't want to go play tennis. Like, what is that sport? I don't know.
So what year did you start tennis then?
I started my sophomore year. She suggested that like towards the end of freshman year, like when I was in track, she was just like, you need to do something else next year, do something else. And I was like, okay, whatever, fine. I'll give tennis a go. And it was crazy. First day of practice, sophomore year. Tennis for boys is in the fall. So, beginning of the year. I think practice has actually started before school even started. First day on the court, bouncing a tennis ball, doing all this weird stuff. And I was like, oh my God, this is different. This is kind of fun. I was so bad. I think we had a team of like 27, and I was dead last, number 27, my sophomore year. Which
you went from dead last to getting a scholarship.
Exactly. So. Yeah. Looking back, like I never really grew up the most athletic kid or whatever. I was usually.
Well, you don't look it.
Yeah.
So I mean, you look athletic.
Yeah, which is surprising, right? But I was always kind of dead last on the team. Just I don't know. But I fell in love with this sport my sophomore year, and so that summer, actually no, after sophomore year season, so like beginning in spring, my sophomore year, I just grinded like. I was on the tennis court at least 6 hours a day, every day. I mean, it was crazy. And I did that the spring all through summer, and then junior year hit, and I went from number 27 on a team of 27 to I think number 4 on.
That's a big jump.
Yes, on a bigger team too, actually. So I got to play varsity. I think I played two doubles. Maybe I played one doubles. I can't remember. It was a while ago. But it was great. And then senior year was also great. I just, you couldn't get me off a tennis court. I just fell in love with this sport. It was amazing. So tennis was one of the biggest things for me in high school. I can't imagine my life without tennis right now. I don't know where I'd be, what I'd be doing. It was crazy.
Were you involved with any other groups or organizations in high school, or was it kind of just sports?
Sports. I mean, it was tennis, track. I didn't really do anything else. No, I was just kind of, I was in that little shell. I never really got out of it. I went to classes, and I mean, I was just on the court so much that's all I really cared about. My life became tennis. That was like my identity.
I'm kind of surprised with your business knowledge and your
Yeah.
and your love for business that you weren't in like DECA or.
Yes, yeah. I don't think I got as interested in business in high school, because, like I said, I mean,
Well, you started to towards the end.
Yeah,
I guess
yeah,
in
yeah.
what I saw.
Yes, like I'd say like second semester of my junior years when I started to, we took this Dave Ramsey thing. It was like a stupid class or whatever, but like I remember everything from it. I just loved it. I loved it. It was so unique, learning all these little things that just you never think of, and nobody else in the class really paid attention or cared. That we all thought it was dumb, but I shouldn't say we all. I thought it was pretty cool actually, and so
Right.
I just started. Every now and then I'd learn something new about business, and I just keep doing that. But either way, I mean, tennis was still always my priority, but business slowly became and has become just a really, really big part of my life. But yeah, no, I guess I was never really involved in any of those groups. Huh?
That's all right. That's all right.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Going back, I'm trying to think. 2020 would have been what year for you in high school?
Well, I graduated 22, so sophomore or junior year.
So how did that COVID year not going to classes impact you?
I guess COVID hit. Okay, yeah. So COVID hit my sophomore year, and it hit right during track season, as track season was starting, and so I didn't really, because I'd fallen in so much love with tennis that sophomore year. Track being in the spring, the off season of tennis, like I just kind of didn't care. I was just excited to go home and play games all day and whatnot. And so I guess I feel like COVID kind of started getting better like that fall, because we went to school my junior year in the fall. I mean, we had to wear masks on the tennis court in the fall, which sucked. But like, so
I'm surprised with you guys being so far away from each other, but I guess it was pretty much mask everything right away, right?
Yeah. It was. I think you had to wear a mask for literally everything.
Yeah.
But so that little break didn't really affect me at all. Actually, I just played tennis still every day and played video games, and
So it didn't really set you back in any kind of way?
no, God, honestly, COVID was amazing for I think a lot of people my age, but it also could have been detrimental to a lot of people my
So
age.
on the turn side of that, do you think it may have had more of an impact on the younger kids, grade school, middle school,
Negative or positive impact?
either way?
I don't know. I guess if we're talking in terms of gaming, like because gaming's getting so popular and that's something I love too. I think a lot of kids might have loved COVID because they can just go play 10 hours a day with their buddies on video
Right.
games. But other kids that might be more social or maybe even not social, but just don't have like other aspects of their life like that they can take advantage of in like boring-ish times like that. Like I'm sure they definitely struggled and probably were impacted negatively, especially at a young age when that's something that's so important to you is attention and having fun.
Well, and like with you were old enough, you already had your values, your parents taught you well. The biggest worry I think in my mind was that, the younger kids maybe weren't totally set in their values and didn't really know, and
Yeah.
it might have impacted, their work ethic and things like that. That was really my
Okay.
thing. So I didn't know if you thought as a younger person if you thought that might impact them in that in a negative way.
I definitely think it could because, like I said, this was kind of sophomore to junior year for me, this whole COVID thing, and something I'm really proud of, and I give a lot of props to my parents on. Like, I feel like I had my head screwed on straight pretty dang tight.
Your parents are great.
Yeah, at the beginning of my high school career, and even to now, I think I'm a very mature kid who really just kind of has his head screwed on. Whereas other people, I don't know, I can't speak for other people, but I can't say the same in a lot of other people's circumstances, I guess. And so I do think it definitely could have been a struggle for a lot of people. It might have been harder for them to learn more about themselves, learn more about other people, and just learn, I guess. I mean, that's growing up. You're just learning, maturing, and a lot of people, especially younger people, could have missed out on some of those opportunities with COVID.
And social, being social.
Yes,
And
yeah, exactly.
that's kind of those years where you learn to develop your your social skills
Yes,
and
yeah.
actually start talking to people. You kind of start that in daycare and preschool, but it's not as there. You're not really. Everybody
Yeah.
likes everybody. And,
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, for me, actually, personally, so like one of the reasons I transferred was, and I'm sure we'll talk about this, all this gaming stuff. I used to do a lot of gaming back in grade school from 5th to 8th grade. And I got picked on quite a bit for it, and it was really tough. Those were some tougher years for me, but they also like built my character.
You got picked on for gaming, or just
It was
picked
the
on in general?
YouTube stuff. I got picked on for a lot of the YouTube stuff I did.
You got picked on for the things that are really popular now. Is what you're saying? Okay.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy how that works. But I got picked on a lot for it, and I was always that unsocial kid. I never really talked to girls. I only had a couple guys I ever talked to. Like, I just wasn't very social. I was different.
That's crazy to think that now. After seeing you now, you're such a social butterfly.
And so
now.
that's what I was gonna get to. So at the beginning of high school, transferring schools, I was like, okay, Chase, like this is a new start. Like, don't change who you are, but like start trying to be more social. Try to start interacting with more people, like get out of your shell and start trying to grow in these aspects that you struggle with. And I really did that my freshman year, and I did an incredible job of it my freshman year. And so that helped me so much. Whereas, other people, maybe COVID, like screwed them in that sense. Like they couldn't start trying to get out of their shell at an age that it would have been beneficial to them to do so, I guess.
Right.
So yeah, I guess if that.
And you really strive for knowledge. Like you
yeah.
always seek out,
Yeah. Yes.
try to learn something new all the
Get
time.
1% better every day, and that's a great way to do it.
Yeah, I didn't want to bring up COVID, but I kind of wanted to see because you and I had never really talked about that. How it really
No, I guess we haven't. Huh?
impacted you, and I was really curious coming into this. I was like, maybe I'll ask him about that today, and we'll see what his thoughts are.
Yeah, I've never reflected on that either. I've never really thought about it, so I'm
Not
glad
many
you brought
people
it up.
do, and I feel like it's a necessary thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good question. A good topic to talk to anybody about.
Right.
I might start doing that now. Actually.
Yeah. It's just to see kind of how they felt. Like you saw it as a positive thing, and the next person might see it as a complete negative.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
Moving on to like college. So getting into the process of picking a college.
Yes.
Deciding to play a sport. Walk me through
Okay.
what you went through with that.
Oh my goodness. So I go to a college in Sioux City, Morningside University, and honestly, the first time I toured this college, I was like, God, no. Like, this place, there's no way. And I think part of it was the tour guide, and then also
Tour guides can ruin a whole experience.
Yep. And the second time I went there, the tour guide was great. I talk to him all the time now. But so the first time I went there, I was just like, not a fan. They also didn't have a tennis coach at the time. Like, they were in the process of hiring one. So there was just a lot of different things about the place I didn't really like. And I toured Lincoln and Omaha, two Division I schools, and then a bunch of other NAIA schools. And the thing for me was like, I really wanted to play tennis, like this sport that it literally has became my identity. Like,
so there was no question. You were bound and determined.
Yes,
you were
like,
going
I
to
had
college to play tennis,
yeah.
whether you were getting a scholarship or not.
Exactly.
Okay, that's good. That's good to know because sometimes I got burnt out.
Yeah.
Playing sports in high school, and I had no aspirations to go play.
Yeah, and actually we can get to that. There's something We'll talk about burnout in a little bit.
Okay.
But so I had gone to all these colleges, and all the NAI ones, they don't have as much money as your Division One
Right.
schools. So your Division One schools are a lot nicer in a lot of different ways, and so that was a balance I was trying to really figure out. If I'm paying this money to go to a college, I want to go somewhere nice, but I also want to play tennis, so I might have to compromise. And so after touring everything and doing some evaluations, I was like, Mom, Dad, we got to go back to a couple colleges. And, Morningside was on top of a few of the other NAI schools. And so I was like, okay, maybe we'll try it. Morningside again. I went back to Omaha and Lincoln again, which was funny just because, I probably wasn't going to go there anyways, if I was being honest with myself. So I went back to Morningside and I got an incredible tour guide. The guy was awesome. He was so cool, so relatable. Him and I actually have a lot in common. And so that was fun. They had a new tennis coach at this time, and so I got to meet him. Great guy. Him and I are so close right now. I mean, it's crazy. I see him more than a coach. We're just really good friends. And so there were just a lot of different things, and you just kind of. People say this all the time, and it's hard to believe or fathom until you actually go to college or you actually experience it. But like, you really do know, like, when it's home, I guess is how some people will say it. Like, you just kind of get this feeling and you're like, yep, this is it. And so that's how I picked Morningside. That second tour, we were driving back to Norfolk, and I was like, guys, that's it. I'm going to Morningside.
Sometimes you just know
Yeah.
whether it's picking a college or picking a house.
Yeah, exactly.
A lady?
Yeah, dude. No, you get this feeling, and it's so indescribable. It's so hard to explain, but I just knew. I knew it.
Yeah, half the time you can't describe it. It's just like this is it.
Yeah,
this is,
exactly.
I don't need to even see anything else.
Yeah, and it's a great feeling. Like, anybody gets to experience those feelings. Like, they don't come too often. Like these just feelings of like, this is it.
Right.
And so it's a great thing to experience for sure.
What about your major is what?
So right now my major is business administration and accounting, and then I'm getting a minor in entrepreneurship and economics, I think. Yeah.
Nice. So business administration, for those that don't know, is kind of like an overarching business degree. If you don't really know which facet of the business industry you want to get into, that's kind of what you go for.
And so actually when I first went to college, and I've always had this thing about college, like I actually didn't want to go to college because I didn't know what I wanted to do. And
well, you know my opinion on that. So.
Yes, yeah. And so like my parents really wanted me to go to college because my mom and dad never went to college, and so they really want to see me, see this through and see what college can really do for one's career. And I don't blame them for thinking that. But I think that going to college with no idea what you want to do, like, you're going to lack motivation in your classes. You're going to get a degree in possibly something you don't want. It's just, I don't think it's a very smart investment. And so that's something I struggled with when I went to college. And I was under this thing that Morningside offers called XPath. And it's basically for undecided students. And they put you in all these different things to try to figure out what you want to do. For a while, I was considering being a CPA, just all this different stuff, computer programming.
That's a nice program. They didn't really have, at least the colleges that I looked at, they didn't have something like that.
Yeah, no, and it's something new. I think Lincoln's starting to offer something similar. So it is a unique program for those that go in undecided. And
that's really nice.
Yeah, and I think it does a great job of teaching kids, what different things do and what you do in that field and whatnot. So it was good. But I just had to do a lot of thinking on my own. I set up meetings with people all the time, like networking, just to try to get different ideas of what, different jobs do. And that's been one of the biggest pillars for me in deciding what I actually want to do. Like, I think I'm finally at a place, and this is only as of the last couple months. Like, I finally know what my end goals are, what I really want to do, what it is that I enjoy, how I can utilize my strengths to, my career. And so I think that's kind of how I decided what I want to do.
Are you involved in any groups or activities at college?
Tennis.
Yeah, we need tennis.
Yeah,
I mean, like
obviously tennis. No, so we have a CEO club, accounting club, investment club. Sometimes I'll go to those. They're optional. But usually they're all on Friday, and so it's hard to make it to all of them. I love all three of those in their own way, so I'll try to make it to one.
Did you say that you were an RA or no?
Yes.
You are.
This year I'm an RA.
I would count that as
okay, yeah,
as being involved in something, because you're in charge of a whole floor.
Yep. So, gosh, dude, there's so
Are
much.
you the only one?
No, so I'm on a freshman floor, and freshman floors require two RAs just because you got to help the kids adapt. A lot more help is needed, and so we I have a co RA. His name's Seth. We get along really well, but yeah, it's a fun job. It pays well. It helps pay for college. I
Oh,
think it's worth it.
so it's a paid
Yeah,
position.
yeah. They pay you. It's it's great. It really is.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Um, anything else about college you kind of want to touch on? Norton's life here before college?
I mean, there's a lot with college. I could talk about. I guess that's tennis.
Go for tennis. Yeah. Go for it.
So a little bit ago, we brought up burnout.
Yeah.
And also, like, we're talking about this degree stuff right now, and I'll talk a little bit about some of the things that have been going through my head lately. So. Like I said, I used to play tennis 6 hours a day, every day, and it's been that way.
Not just that, you were teaching kids too.
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
you taught my son.
Oh, yes. That excludes that. I'm talking 6 hours a day training on my own.
Right.
Like I was.
Once you got to college.
Yes, it was crazy. Even when I got to college, I think last year, my freshman year, I was on court at least 6 hours a day, going 100% training.
So before you left through your first year, you were doing how many? You were doing coaching sessions in the summer.
Yes.
Plus
my
plus
summer was
your
crazy.
own
Plus my own
your
training.
own training. So you were tennising.
Oh, crazy amount.
12 hours a day,
Crazy
13 hours a day.
Yes, plus my job at Serve Pro. Yeah,
just to give people kind of a concept
Yes.
of you were around
Yeah.
tennis from wake to sleep,
pretty much.
basically.
Pretty much.
So,
It was crazy. I mean, tennis, just my life. It was insane.
so go ahead. I just want to make sure they kind of knew.
Yeah, guys. Tennis is just, it's crazy. It's so hard to explain. Literally my identity, which is a good and bad thing at the same time. But anyways, so my freshman year, I mean, I was on a court 6 to 8 hours a day, training 100%. This is the most amount of training I ever did because, in high school I would train, but it wouldn't always be 100%. Like it'd be maybe have some fun for a few hours with somebody and then, go play a match for some time. Whereas my freshman year last year, it was just a grind.
And weren't you going into that year with an injury?
Yes, I've always had like shoulder problems and tennis elbow. So I used to in high school I had a bomb serve. It was crazy, and going into college I couldn't do that anymore because of my shoulder and elbow problems. But I finally have it back. Everything's kind of fixed itself somehow. I don't know how, but
No surgery or nothing. You just kind of rested.
Yeah, pretty much. Which was hard.
That's good.
I always got told rest, and that was always so tough for me just because all I wanted to do was go play tennis. But it did help a lot. So now I'm playing some pretty good tennis. But anyways, so freshman year I played an insane amount of tennis, like just crazy. And now this year, I'm kind of going through this burnout phase, and it's scary. There's been a lot of tears shed because it's tough when you dedicate everything you have like to something, and then out of nowhere you go through this phase of like, I don't even want to go be on a tennis court. Like it's crazy. Like even right now, I mean,
It almost feels gross.
Yeah.
Like you don't even want to touch it. Don't even want to be around
I don't
it.
even understand. It's so hard to explain. It's like how can you love something so much and then all of a sudden you don't want to go do it?
Did you say that's what you're going through right now?
Yes, yeah. I've been going through it honestly all of this year. Like
Oof.
it's been tough. Yes.
That's rough.
And it's opened my mind up to a lot of different things, which is why I was going to bring up academics too. Yeah.
So academics. So are you staying in the degrees that you just discussed, or is that going to be transitioning as well?
That will be transitioning. So right now, because of this burnout phase, I'm really considering. I shouldn't say transferring, but that is something I'm looking at. I'm looking at transferring colleges right now.
Oh, you and I discussed that before, yeah.
Yeah. One of the problems is I'm starting to fall in love with finance, and that's something I know that I want to get into now. But Morningside doesn't offer a finance degree. And you don't need a finance degree to get into finance, right? You can take your tests and whatnot. But like it's still a degree that I really want. It's something I want to pursue. And since Morningside doesn't offer that, it's really got me thinking about, am I at the right place? Because really the sole purpose of college is to get a degree in something you want, right? But what makes that so tough is I went to college undecided and with the mindset of I'm here to play tennis. But now that I'm getting even more mature and I'm starting to see different avenues with my life, and I'm going through all this tennis stuff. Not that I want to give up tennis or anything like that. That's not what's happening, but it's really made me realize how important I think this degree is to me now, and how what I actually want to get out of college. And so I'm currently like weighing out all these benefits and, cons and whatnot,
So if you go to a bigger college, let's say Lincoln,
which is
okay.
where I'm thinking.
I didn't know if you wanted to say, so I was just gonna, I'm just putting it out there.
Yeah, of course.
Will you have the opportunity to participate in tennis at the collegiate level there?
No. I'm not good enough.
You couldn't even try to walk on, or
No. I mean, Lincoln's a Division I school. It's crazy. Our top guy at our NAI school, he's nobody here is probably gonna understand the UTR system, but he's like almost an 11 UTR, which is solid tennis. That's crazy. I'm probably like an 8 to a 9, which is still good. But our top guy is like an 11. Lincoln, a Division I college, their worst guy is probably like a 12.5 or 13. And a 1 point difference in a UTR is insane. Like, a 1 point difference is crazy. Your professionals are anywhere from like 14 to 16. Your Division I colleges are like 12 to 14 usually.
So in short form, can you explain what the UTR kind of is?
So the UTR is basically it's a universal tennis ranking, and it goes from anywhere from, I think, 1 to 16.5. So like I said, most of your professionals are around 14 to 16.5. And then, you just kind of work your way up. It takes your matches that you've played that are sanctioned. Sanctioned tennis matches means like they count towards a UTR system. And it basically it compares your matches, your match scores with these other UTRs that you played. And it gives you a number. And the more matches you play against higher level tennis players, if you're getting better, your UTR will slowly go up if you're getting better, and your match play shows that, I guess, and your scores show that. So it's just a ranking based on your performance, really. But yeah, me going Division I, there's no way I could play.
So you'd be giving up collegiate tennis if you were to transfer. So that's a big decision to make.
It is, and it's tough. It's really tough. And I could be making kind of a emotional decision with where I'm at with tennis right now. But I do know that tennis is something I will play the rest of my life. And like Lincoln, they offer a club tennis thing with still some solid players. So like, it's not like I would be totally giving up the sport or anything like that. I'm still going to go play all the time, play with some of these, grouped guys. So yeah, it's not like I'm fully giving up. It's more so I'm giving up that team aspect of tennis. But I can still go play in UTR, USTA sanctioned tennis matches, in Nebraska or Iowa if I want. Like, so I'm not fully giving it up. It's more so just that team aspect that I'd be finally giving
Is that just
up.
like you sign up to go play a sanctioned match? Is there tournaments that you can go?
Yeah. So there's two different ranking systems. There's the UTR and then there's USTA. Same idea. Now there's USTA tournaments. These are the tournaments you sign up for, and they're sanctioned, and they're, there could be some in Omaha or Lincoln or Sioux Falls. Like, they're anywhere. They're anywhere and everywhere, really. And you just sign up on their website on USTA.com, and yeah, you go play.
Is the USTA, is that what runs most of your like major, or is that a whole different?
No. I mean, yes.
Can you go from
no.
the USTA, move yourself up?
Yes. Yeah. There's so many avenues and routes, I guess, with all that.
Staying on tennis, did you have any tennis influencers? Like, did you have like a favorite player?
Oh my gosh.
Growing up that like made you want to pursue tennis? I know you already said that you kind of just
fell into
it.
My parents. Yeah. No. So I've always been I'm a perfectionist, right? And if anybody here knows anything about tennis, and the word perfect, if I said the word perfect and you thought of a tennis player, who would you think of? Do you know much for tennis players?
I would say Roger Federer.
Okay, Roger Federer. Roger Federer is like by far my favorite tennis player. And not just because like, he was number one for so long or anything like that. Like, that guy's done so much for the sport of tennis.
He has. He was always, so I'm like, if you heard some of on the other podcast, I'm always like, I was a Kobe hater, respected his game, all that kind of stuff.
Uh-huh.
Roger was that in the tennis world for me, because I was a Roddick fan, and he beat Roddick every time,
Mm-hmm.
And Sampras, and,
dude.
And Agassi, he was Agassi's kryptonite towards the end of his career.
He was phenomenal player, though. I mean, some of the things he had to go through, it was just crazy. 3 again, this is tough to explain, but like tennis, they'll make surface changes. So like the speed of the court or different things like that. They don't make them too often, right? These changes. But Roger Federer in his career went through 3 surface changes, which is nobody else has ever done that.
Well, and he was good on every style of court
Yes,
too.
yes. And so he had to play through a lot of adversity and make these adjustments that were just so difficult for people to make. And so like I have so much more respect for him for all these other reasons, especially like things outside of that he's done for tennis.
He also bridged the gap for that game or for tennis too.
Oh, 100%.
Getting past the Sampras Agassi time, he bridged that gap
he
into
did.
like the Roddick
The
and now the Djokovic and
The modern and then the old style of tennis really like he really did. It's so cool to see. And I mean it's arguable, you know, Novak Djokovic, Rafa Nadal, like all these guys, you know, everybody has their own opinion on who the number 1 is, but Roger Federer's just obviously I'm going to argue that he's my number 1, but like it's for so many other reasons that I just respect the guy and fell in love with his style of the sport. And that's why he is, you know, that idol for me. The way he plays tennis is just perfect. It really is.
he was very humble too.
Yeah.
He wasn't a big celebrator. He wasn't.
No, yeah. That's all I can say about him is yeah. I mean, it's crazy. He was just a phenomenal guy. He looked beautiful on the tennis court. That's the kind of tennis I strive for. So, yeah, him by far.
Well, you are definitely better at tennis than I am. So
we don't know.
Oh, we know.
Oh, we did.
We
it
know.
once,
I can barely even hit the ball.
Hey,
so
that's okay.
I thought
That's
I was
okay.
decent, and then when I actually played somebody who actually is decent at the game.
You know, it's actually funny though. The amount
I'm
of
also
people,
an old man now too, so I can't keep up like
I
used
wouldn't
to.
say you're an old man, but it is funny the amount of people who say tennis is such an easy sport or whatever, and then they'll
Literally
go
one
out
of the
there.
hardest sports.
It is.
I haven't played every sport, but out of the sports that I have played, it is one of the hardest to get acclimated to.
Yeah, it is. It is so hard. Like you think just swinging a tennis racket, you're gonna hit the ball in the court, but most people, it's hilarious. They'll go swing a racket and their ball goes out of the fence.
To actually play it like competitively, like you can go, you and I
yeah,
can
you
go,
can tap
we could
it.
go tap the ball,
Oh
and
yeah,
I could probably hit it a little bit harder. But if I try to like
Hit it.
actually smack it,
Yep, forget about it. That ball's gone.
it's
Yeah,
gone.
it's hard. I would compare it to golf, honestly, in a way. I mean, I think golf is honestly
bad at golf
a
too,
little
so.
tougher, but it's just one of those sports that it's a lot harder than it looks. Way harder.
Is there anything else on tennis, high school, college that you want to touch on right now? I'm gonna move into gaming, so if that gives you any kind of idea.
Ooh, gaming. No, not really.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my experiences in those areas.
So my question is, because you were a big gamer, you were into YouTube, why did you completely give up gaming?
That's a great question.
Video making, like you gave
Yes.
up everything. You gave up the computer, you gave up the camera, you gave up the whole setup.
Yeah. So I'll tell this story. So like I said, 5th to 8th grade, I really started getting into gaming. I remember when I transferred to my private school in 5th grade, a lot of the guys there would always talk about, you know, their Xboxes and Black Ops 2 and how they would play all these games. And I was like, oh, what the heck? I had a Wii, so I played, you know, Wii tennis, Wii this, Wii that, whatever, Mario Brothers. And so for Christmas that year, I was like, Mom, Dad, I want an Xbox. And they're like, all right, whatever, fine. So they give me an Xbox, and the first game I get is Black Ops 2 because that's the game that all my buddies are playing. And I start playing that game.
God, you're young if that's the game. The Black Ops 2 is the one you got.
Yeah, that's the most nostalgic game to me. It's crazy. But so I started playing it with them, and it was so weird. I was just like, I wasn't good right away. You know, I'd never played on a console or controller like that in my life. So it might've taken me a few weeks to like start learning, you know, mechanics and whatnot. But within a month, I mean, it was crazy. I was just whooping everybody's butt. Like, and I don't know why. Like, I did play a decent amount. It wasn't like 8 hours a day, nothing like that. But like, I just started getting really good at video games, and I started just falling in love with it really. And you know, all my friends would always just like be like, oh my gosh, you're good, like what's going on right now, this is so cool. And you kind of get that feeling of like, oh, this is fun, people are hyping me up, like people think I'm good at this, so you want to keep doing it. And so from, you know, 5th to 8th grade, I started playing a lot more games. I started getting really good at many video games. And then I started doing YouTube. You know, YouTube was at that age for me, something that you could definitely tell was growing. And at a younger age, you watch a lot of people on YouTube probably, and you
I'm
want
trying
to
to
be
think. It
that.
came out in 2002, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that okay?
Yeah. I don't know. It was just I watched a lot of YouTubers that did a lot of the same stuff as me, and I was like, man, this would be fun. And I was always super shy, like I said. I was always a shy kid, and so I could really be myself behind a camera, which excited me. Like I was like, this is me in front of a camera. Like it's not me in front of a bunch of kids in class. I can be me. And so I asked for the next Christmas. I think this would have been in sixth grade. I asked for a cheap computer, a thing called an Elgato that records, your Xbox, and just a little bit of equipment so I could start doing all this. And again, my parents are amazing. The fact that they got me this stuff, like God, I'm spoiled rotten. It was crazy. But so I started doing this YouTube thing, and at the age, I was young. I didn't get super popular or anything like that, but I could go back and watch some of the videos right now, and I will just start crying. Like it was, I remember I would go home from school every day and record a video, and it's like that was my excitement every day. That's all I looked forward to all day. Nothing else mattered. Like it was me and just me right there, right? I could just be me, and it was just one of the best feelings ever. And so I just fell in love with it. Just the content creation, playing video games, really doing what I loved while being myself. And like I did, I got picked on a lot for it. And looking back, like I think it was good. I think it shaped me into who I am today. But it did suck. It made it rough. So I decided to transfer, like I said earlier. And I did this all through fifth through eighth grade, this YouTube gaming stuff. But then I decided to transfer to a public school. And again, I was like, this is a new opportunity for me, right? I didn't want to tell anybody about the YouTube stuff because I didn't want that to be my identity here because I wanted to make friends. I didn't want to get judged the same way.
Chase is the YouTube guy.
Yeah, yeah. And so at this time, Fortnite got really big, and I was pretty freaking good at Fortnite. And so it was really hard because I made a lot of friends, actually. I did start getting out of my shell and talking to a lot of people. And then this thing, like, it just came out of me one day. And I told somebody, I was like, yeah, I play video games and I'm pretty good or whatever. I don't know. Pretty cocky, but whatever. And so I played games with that guy that night. And I was really good. And suddenly just word started getting out. People started finding out about all this YouTube stuff and whatnot. And so my freshman year of high school, like I was definitely out of my shell, but people saw me as the YouTube guy and the gaming guy, and I didn't really get picked on for it in high school, I don't think. And if I did, I did a really good job of just like.
Well, you were probably to the point like you are now where it doesn't get to you.
Yeah,
Like
I don't
people
care.
want to. I'm the same way. If people want to
exactly
say something bad about this thing or that thing, it doesn't bother me any.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me at all. Honestly, I like it. It's fuel, really.
That means people are watching.
Yeah.
Or listening.
Exactly.
Or whatever.
They're wasting their time watching my
yeah.
content that's funny to them. Like
that's what I love about like you see these trolls on the internet and like well, you did listen to the content
Yep,
if you're making a comment.
Exactly.
So I appreciate you for that.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks for the view. It is funny, and I don't know why people go out of their way to do that stuff. It just mind boggles me. But you know what? Whatever.
They got nothing else going on in their life. They have to.
I guess so.
Attempt to ruin somebody else's.
Exactly. I guess so. But so then I kept doing all my stuff my freshman year, the gaming and whatnot. I did amazing with Fortnite. Content was really good. I thought I made pretty good content for my age. And then sophomore year, tennis came along, right? And I was still doing all this YouTube stuff, but I was also, playing 6 hours of tennis every day and whatnot. And so it started to become this really tough balance. Like a YouTube video maybe takes me 2 hours to record, and then depending on the video, like 6 to 10 hours to edit.
That's what a lot of people don't realize is that when it comes to a really well done YouTube video, the editing process is
hours,
crazy.
sometimes days. Like seriously, I remember one video I made, it probably took me over 20 hours to edit. And I think I did a really good job of editing my videos. That's something that I'm confident in myself is my editing skills.
The ones that I saw later, so like when you were doing them, I think still your senior year.
Junior. It would have been junior.
When did you redo your YouTube channel? To the Strive where you only had so many videos? Because you got rid of your old videos, right?
Because my channel got terminated, which we'll talk about. So there's only like 2 videos on that channel, and I had to make both of those in college. But those would have been like honestly freshman year in college last year.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I thought those were still when you had
Mm-mm.
your.
But some of my later videos would have been my junior year in high school, I think.
But those are gone.
Yes, those are all gone. But those are some of my best videos. Amazing editing went into those. I don't know if you ever saw them, but
Well, was that the whole was that the Minecraft ones, or are those the more recent
yeah,
ones?
I have the Minecraft ones on a hard drive, so maybe you've seen those.
Like the releasing how many withers or whatever.
Oh, those are TikToks. Those are short form
No.
contents. I don't
Anyway,
know.
it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I don't
They
remember.
were good. They were very well put together.
Yeah, yeah.
That's all I'm trying to get at.
I did a great job. My personality and then my editing really synced together and helped me make a good video. And I, especially since I'm older now and more mature, I understand more things. I would love to see what kind of content I could make now, just because of my knowledge and whatnot.
Well, you've helped me with mine too. So I mean, you have a great knowledge of how to put things together.
Yes, yes.
Like you take my idea and you just you polish it.
Yes, exactly. And I don't know.
You know me, I'm very creative,
Yeah.
but it's always like a jumbled mess. Like I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this.
Yeah, yeah. I
And
get
then
that.
you're like, well, we could do it this way, this way, this way, this way. And I'm like, oh, well, that's great.
boom. Yeah, it works out.
Thanks for sculpting that out.
Yeah, yeah. And I guess I don't know if that's just experience that I have. I don't know what it is, but anyways, back to the story. Where was I at? Like junior year ish. Okay, yeah. So this balance with tennis and YouTube, like, you'd spend 10 to 15 hours on average for a YouTube video. And then I also wanted to be on a tennis court 6 to 8 hours a day. Well, I also have school and other things I need to do. So that finding this balance was so hard. It was so, so tough. And so ultimately, I just kind of came to terms and I was like, I got to make a decision. It's all out on one of these, all out. And I don't remember what, made the conclusion of tennis, but I decided tennis. I decided to just go out on tennis and, kind of leave YouTube and all this gaming stuff. And
You didn't just leave it. You got rid of it.
yeah. So another thing, I built this crazy, crazy room studio.
Against my advice.
Yes, yes.
Oh, not building.
Yeah.
He built the studio. We'll get to what I said in a minute, but he
Yeah.
built the studio. Go ahead.
Yeah, I built this studio. It took me like, I don't know, 3 months to plan out. I had the whole room sketched out. This was a crazy gaming setup. I was so blessed to have this setup, honestly.
You made Tech Source, so he made a YouTube series. This guy, he's got many followers, and he does videos on people's setups. You submitted your stuff,
Yep,
and he
yep.
picked your stuff. Out of that whole
Yeah,
deal.
and I was one of the top setups on that. I mean, it was amazing. Like, I really did have a fantastic setup. It was a dream for any kid my age. It really was.
That was a dream setup for
Anybody.
It doesn't matter your age.
No,
that was
yeah.
He had a full on studio.
It was
in their house.
It was so cool. But so I had that and all this stuff. I had invested so much time, energy, money into this, and I just decided tennis was it. I don't know if it was because I knew with all the gaming stuff, I was never like a fat kid or anything like that, but getting into tennis, I started getting into more like resistance training. I became more nutritionally mindful, learning about nutrition, right? So like I started getting healthier physically, mentally, all these different things. And it was a great feeling. And I just thought that tennis was better maybe for my like longevity and for my physical appearance and for all this stuff. And at the age, that was so important to me. And it still is. It still really is. So I think that could be part of the reason I took that route. I really don't remember exactly why, but that's the route I took. And then I think this happened like my junior or probably my senior year of high school. Towards the end of my senior year, my entire Gmail associated with all of my YouTube stuff. Or all of my content, right? So my YouTube account, my PayPal, my social media, all of it, right? That email got hacked. Money got taken out of my PayPal. Stuff got posted on my channel. And within days, my YouTube channel was terminated for violating YouTube's impersonation policies, right? So I don't really remember exactly what happened, but somebody got on my channel, and I think it was actually live streams that were happening on my channel, and I didn't realize it at the time. But it went against impersonation, and YouTube terminated my channel. And so I fought this for 8 to 10 months. I think they finally finalized their decision like towards the end of my freshman year in college, basically saying like, our decision's final. We can't find evidence. Like, your channel's gone. And so all those videos, everything, it's all gone. I have no proof of any of it. I mean, which sucks. It's just all memories, really.
You got them on a hard drive though, don't you? Or are they all gone?
Only 3 of them are on a hard drive. I never.
That's too bad. That's my biggest worry. So I'm a scared content creator. So I have like 3 different places that I put stuff.
Yep, which I will start doing now.
Yeah.
Everything will be getting.
It's
saved.
on the physical hard drive, and then it's on 2 other cloud drives.
Yep. Yep.
I pay for it all, which sucks, but
Yeah. That storage is not cheap. But so yeah, my channel got terminated. And so then I was just kind of like, well, shoot. It wasn't so much that like I wanted to keep making content because I was a college athlete, but it was just like all those memories, everything just gone. And it really sucked. So I made another channel, which we were talking about.
Yep.
Which there's only like 2 videos on there. Just because like I've slowly started to regret fully getting rid of all that. That was a big part of my history. And not that it's a waste of time. I don't think it really was a waste of time, but it
at
also
one
could've
point
been.
you did.
Yes.
So you and I, for the listeners out there, you and I had a long conversation about this because you came to me and you're like, here's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I mean, at the end of the day, I said, you do what you feel is correct for you at the time.
Yeah.
Is really what it came down
Yeah.
to. But I did advise him not to at least not get rid of the equipment because once the equipment's gone, then it's really gone.
Yeah,
but I guess maybe that's what you wanted. You wanted it to be out of your life.
Yes, that
completely.
that is what I wanted. I wanted because I'm like, in this tennis phase and this business phase, I was like, this is just a distraction. Like these video games, it's a distraction. I've never if I'm not fully committed to it, then what the heck? What am I doing? So then I was just like, I'm selling it all. Like I got to get rid of this distraction in my life.
And I had brought up that I thought you were maybe going to regret it at some point because I gave you my experience.
Yeah.
That, I run a business. I do the podcasting. I also still game on the side.
Yep.
It's not something I think is going to be anything profitable, but it is a great release
Yes.
of the stressors in life.
Yes.
Whether you're playing Minecraft, whatever you're playing, it can really release
Yeah.
stress. And I think you're coming to that realization.
I have another thing on that topic too, which we can get to in a second. But so yeah, I've definitely started to realize that like this missing piece of me, because it is a big piece of me. It might be in my history, but there's something about all that work and whatnot. I love it, and so I actually just started buying a bunch of stuff, spent a little bit of money, and I'm getting a bunch of equipment again. I'm gonna start making videos again. Woo!
Awesome. That's awesome to hear, though.
No,
'cause
yeah,
you make
yeah.
good content. So.
Yeah, I'm excited. I really am. And I think I'm gonna balance it out. I think I'll find a way to balance everything.
That's a word you're going to keep in your life for the rest of your
Yes,
life.
and
Balance is still a word I use to
Yeah.
this day. I use it in my relationship. I use it with my kids.
That was the first word you taught
Use it
me
with
when
you.
we met.
Yeah,
Yeah,
balance. Yep,
balance.
that was.
And then aggregate.
in aggregate, yeah. We were talking insurance at the time. Aggregate, yeah.
The one word I remember.
Balance was one of the ones I really pushed.
Yeah,
for you.
you did.
and explained it. And yeah.
Yes, and something I've realized in college, the last, I would say the last year, I've been very actually no, probably the last 6 months, I've been like hyper focused on self-improvement, learning about business, real estate. I'm so passionate about real estate, and like go. Never break off, never time off, nothing. Like you just got to keep learning. Like, and something I've realized, and I think social media kind of influences this, like with all these gurus making videos and stuff, like, if you're wasting a little bit of time on TikTok or whatnot, like you're wasting your life and whatnot. But I'm starting to realize, like, I don't think that's healthy to teach, because
No, a lot of those gurus are just saying that for the clicks.
exactly. And I followed that for a long
I get
time.
up at 4 a.m. and do 15 minutes of hot yoga, and then I hop in the ice pool. And
No. And I've really realized that it is important to, go all out. Like, do what you can to be successful in whatever way you want, but you still have to find a way to balance. If you read a book for an hour, well, then you get 30 minutes of Netflix. Like little things like that, they really do help. They keep you motivated and they make a difference. Like,
And I know that staying busy is a thing that I make sure I do too.
Yes,
Like when I
yeah.
don't do that and I take a lazy day, I feel horrible.
oh yeah, me too, all the time.
I can't
Yeah.
even do it anymore. So like I get to the point if I've laid there for like an hour,
Yeah.
I start to like get unsettled and like I gotta go
Do something.
go mow the
weeds.
lawn,
Yeah,
go
something.
do
Yep.
something.
Yep. No.
That's also why I started the podcasting. I'm
Yeah.
like, this is a great way to, even get out some of my frustrations and speak to somebody about,
Yeah.
no,
it
life
is.
events.
It's a great. Yeah. I love
Yeah.
this.
Anyway,
So
sorry.
no. That's what I had. Really, it's just
Also, going back to the balance, I want to give a shout out to my mom because that's who it came from. We always talked about balance, and I just want to make sure she'll probably get mad at me if I don't give her a shout out. But yeah, she's taught me the balance. We've always talked about balance. That's a word you want to keep in your life.
No.
To you listeners out there, just know balance. If you're not feeling balanced, that's probably why
Yeah.
you're not feeling great in your life at the moment.
And I agree 100%. I've experienced it the last 6 months. I've just really realized that balance is so important. And I think social media just kind of what's the word, demoralizes maybe that, makes it seem like that's not, if you want to be successful, that is not what you can do. And I don't think that's healthy.
I call it micro hyper focus. So you're a very hyper focused
Yeah.
kid. I'm gonna call you kid because you and I've noticed it's the same thing happened with the gaming. You got really into it, micro focused, or you hyper focused on it, and that was that and tennis.
Yep.
And then you had to pick one. But you can micro hyper focus. You can take different parts of the day and do one thing here for that, but you're staying focused on everything is okay. It's okay. You can balance everything out.
Yeah.
And it'll work out.
Yeah. No, exactly. And I think it's important to maybe know your boundaries in a way. One of my problems has always been I want to get my head dipped into so many different things. Whether it be,
which is okay.
It is, but also at the same time, like I can't run 8 businesses at once. Or maybe I could eventually, right? But not all at once.
You need to take little
baby steps.
Take little chips off it each time.
Exactly.
That's what I had to learn too. You and I have a lot of similarities.
Yeah.
I tried to bite off everything at once.
Yeah.
And then I did the insurance, got that up and going. I learned as much as I'm still learning every day.
Oh yeah.
But I learned a lot about that. And then I'm like, I've been wanting to do the podcast thing for probably 10 years. I'm like, I'm just going to do it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just got to dive in.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. But then you dive into that, learn that, and then move on to the next thing. You could have 20 businesses.
Yeah. Yes. And
then
I agree
you just got to
that.
find somebody to run them for you.
Yes. It's just the baby steps, working up to them, not jumping in all at once, because then that's when you are going to struggle to find that balance.
And fail.
Right?
You could fail quickly
much
if you
easier.
don't have preparation.
Yes, failure will occur way more often and easier if you just jump into everything at once. So I do think a strategic, plan in approaching your whatever you want to pursue is very smart. And I've also learned that.
And you do a good job of reaching out to people and getting opinions of people you trust.
Oh yeah.
When you're looking to do something different or do something new.
Yeah, I love networking. I absolutely love meeting new people and setting up meetings, learning about them, learning more about what they do. And so that's, like you said, I mean, that's just something that helps me a lot, I guess.
That's good.
Yeah.
It's good to hear you're getting back into the gaming. I was excited when you said that.
Yeah.
One, because then you and I can play together at some point. But it's also
top tier content.
You're getting back into it at the same time I'm trying to do all this, and we're gonna help each other out and do
for sure.
To help bring you guys, the listeners, some great content. He's been helping a lot with the podcast, and he's gonna help with some other things, and we're gonna do some awesome stuff. We got some awesome stuff planned. Can't give too much away, but he's gonna be a part of you'll probably hear from him quite a bit. We'll do a few more interviews, and he'll be a part of some of the other content.
Oh yeah, a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, but moving away from the gaming and stuff, unless you got something else you want to talk about on the gaming.
No, I think that's the story.
Do you want to plug your YouTube right now?
No. We'll wait. We'll wait.
Okay, sounds good. Who are some major role models or influences in your life, and then how have they impacted the decision making going through what we just talked about, all the decisions that you made?
Oh, wow.
Who are some of the top influencers? And actually, if you want to take a second to think about that, I'm going to go use the restroom. We'll pause for a second and we'll come back.
I like that idea.
All right, we're back from our little pee break.
Yeah.
Gave you time to think about the question, the hard hitting questions we ask on touching base.
Yes.
So to rehash the question again, who are some major role models or influences in your life, and how have they impacted your decision making?
Okay, so for starters, I would say this could probably be for a lot of people, but one of my biggest role models and influences is my dad. And a big reason for that, my dad, I mean, he grew up, he didn't really come from a whole lot. and he busts his butt every single day. Trying to find more and better ways to provide for the family. Trying to set me and my sister up for success. Just so many different things, and God, I respect the guy so much for it. It's crazy. I've lived a very fortunate life, in my opinion, and I owe it all to my parents, really. My dad he's phenomenal in my eyes, and my mom too, not to discredit her at all. The way those two raised me, the way they support me, words can't explain it, really. I really am so thankful for the parents I have. They both play different roles in different ways, I guess, if that makes sense. They both I don't know how to explain it. They both help me in different ways, and together them two, just they're great parents. It really is incredible. So I'd say that's my first one.
They're great people.
Yeah, they
And we could
are.
probably go back to the word balance, the kind of
Yeah,
yin and yang type of
yeah,
thing.
yeah, pretty much. They just, I don't know, they support me in everything. They help me with everything. I'm blessed. I really am. They spoil me. I'm a spoiled child.
I wouldn't say you're spoiled because you've had to do some things
That's
on
true.
your own too.
That's true. I
They,
did
they
have this.
taught you well because
Yes.
you learned to.
Yes,
If you wanted something at some point, you had to.
yes,
do it
that's a
yourself.
great point. They balance that out as well. They spoil me, maybe don't like Christmas, stuff like that, but they definitely have taught me like the value of the dollar, work ethics, things like that. I grew up in high school. I did a lot of detasseling, and I went from just your average detasseler to a phenomenal detasseler, which for some of you that don't know what that is, you walk through cornfields pulling off tassels on the top of the corn, the little yellow things that stick out.
Manual labor in the hot sun.
Yeah, it sucks. It really does suck. But you get paid for how hard you work and how good you are at your job, and that's what I love about it.
And you didn't necessarily have to do that.
No.
It wasn't a thing you had to do.
No, I didn't. I just did because I think I knew I wanted to do it because it would teach me separate things. And I think that was the maturity in me at that age. Like I knew it would suck and I knew I didn't need to do it, but I almost wanted to. I wanted to take something away from it or prove something to myself. I don't remember really exactly what it was, but so happy I did it. And yeah, it was great.
I feel like people should have to go through
I agree.
a tough job at a young age to
100%.
really appreciate
Yeah.
things later in life.
No, definitely. I think detasseling.
And I get a lot of people. A lot
great.
of people do have tough jobs, and they still.
Oh, yeah.
Some people still do, but I think as developing a young person, I think having a tough job like that. I detailed cars
Yep.
through
Yep.
high school.
Yep.
Not saying that's harder than whatever.
No, I know
but
what
it
you
was
mean,
it was
though.
a grimy
Yeah.
business.
I have respect for people that work in fast food. I will never do that. But like watching it sometimes, it's like, oh my God, like I don't want to do that.
Well, nowadays, just putting up with some of the people
Yeah, no,
that come through, the customers.
literally. So like, there's respect to be had for a lot of different jobs like that.
Right.
But I do agree that I think everybody needs to experience something that really instills that value of the dollar and what hard work really is.
Work ethic is really-
work
yeah.
ethic at a young age. Because again, I think that's another thing that's really shaped my values and whatnot. And so yeah, my parents just have done a great job with a lot of different things like that. So mom and dad, not just dad.
We'll loop them into one category.
Yes,
Yeah.
they are one unit. Another one would be his name's Danny. So when I started doing all this tennis stuff, I started getting pretty good in high school. Norfolk kind of limited me with the amount of levels in tennis that I could play. Norfolk just doesn't have, the best of the best players. Not that that's what I needed to play against, but I needed something next level to start pushing me. So I started going to Sioux City, to this facility called First Serve Tennis Center. And the guy who ran it, he was a head tennis instructor there. His name was Danny Graves. So I started going there. I did these like group clinics, and then I did private lessons with him. At the time, I never knew it would evolve into what it is now, which I'll get to that in a second. But him and I just started building this relationship. And another thing that influenced me going to Morningside was my relationship with Danny. Danny went to Morningside actually in college. Danny, by the way, he's obviously a tennis player. He's the best tennis player in Sioux City. I think I can strongly say that. I mean, this guy is like nobody else anybody has ever seen. It's insane. I love the guy. He's crazy. It's so hard to explain it. But anyways, I started building this relationship with him, and I've gotten so close with him in college. I mean, him and I hang out all the time, just like we'll go out to eat. There's this place called Monterey in Sioux City. We go there weekly, probably. It's so good. We just have a strong relationship. He's not my coach anymore, right? We're really, really tight friends. And I just have so much respect for this guy. He was born with club feet. And he had to get hip surgery not too long ago. Basically, from his waist down, this guy's had so many problems since birth, and he was told he'd never be able to play sports. And he became the best tennis player Morningside's ever had. One of the best players in Sioux City. I think if this guy's body didn't limit him, he genuinely could have gone pro, and he believes it too. His mindset is like nothing I've ever seen. He's a different cat. He's crazy. And I have so much respect for this guy for so many different reasons and whatnot. And he's taught me so much. Just stories from him and whatnot. They've changed my views on things. They've tailored me in different ways of thinking. And so he's influenced me in so many different ways. Just because of who he is as a person, really, and some of the stuff he's done for me. Yeah, Danny. I talk about Danny all the time to all my friends. I love that guy. So those are my parents and him are definitely two of the bigger people that have really influenced my life. But then there's other people too. I have a few other guys in Sioux City. One of them's my age. Greg, he really influences me in different business ways. I have a few people in Norfolk, Zach, you being one of them, like different people that I have really adapted and brought into my circle. Cause I'm very strict with adults. It's a bit different. Adults are a little more mature, but I still choose like who I decide to, try to grow a relationship with. I choose that very wisely. Because I mean, people you surround yourself with, that's
Like they say, you want to surround yourself with the wealth you want to achieve.
Yeah, exactly. And so I surround myself with people that also want to grow as a person, or like I can relate to in a lot of ways. Just I'm very smart with who I allow myself to allow in my circle.
That's good choices.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And you also, like I said, I mean, you've been a great pillar with a lot of things in my life. So yeah, I mean, I have a few people, outside of Danny and mom and dad. But those are definitely two of my bigger ones.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Those are great ones to have. It's always good when your parents are.
Oh yeah.
I figured that was going to be your first answer.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
yeah.
And it probably is for a lot of people.
It is.
But
I just feel lucky that you have that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people out there that don't have.
Oh, I know.
Good influences as parents, and I'm lucky to have it. It's just one of those things that it's tough to think about. If you didn't have that, right?
It is.
And how that would have shaped your life.
It's really hard. And that's one of my, I reflect on that a lot. And that's one reason that I really want to, that I try to help other people, that might be less fortunate, in that aspect, I guess. And it really does. It makes you feel very blessed with what you have, and you appreciate it. So yeah.
Do you feel like that in your RA position? Are you doing a lot of, I don't want to call it leadership mentality, but have you kind of helped along some of the freshmen that maybe?
Definitely. Freshman year for a lot of kids, me as well. My freshman year was really rough in college, but you get homesick. Like that is a real thing. It's tough. The first year of college is one of the biggest adjustments ever.
I get homesick when I go to a hotel now.
Yes,
still,
exactly. So. Like it's hard. It's a big adjustment, and I had to help a lot of kids this year through it. And it was great. It really was. And I do think that these things have helped me in that leadership aspect for sure. So
makes you feel good to help people like that, though.
Oh, it does. It does.
It kind of helps your mentality just in your own life.
Yeah.
I helped that person out.
Yeah. It gives you a great feeling when you help somebody else. Like it does. Or compliment somebody else. I'm reading
compliment, smile.
Yeah.
Hold the door. And
I'm reading this book right now called How to Win Friends and Influence People. I'm sure a lot of people have heard of it. I'm reading it for like the, I think, third time now. one of the things it talks about is a lot of people avoid complimenting other people because they feel as if they're downgrading themselves. You know, everybody wants to have this feeling of importance and being known and whatnot. So, like, for them to give somebody else a compliment, they're like, well, they don't need to know that I think they look good today, you know? But it's like, giving people those compliments really make you feel better, especially some depending on the reaction you might get sometimes. Like, it's crazy. And so I don't know. That book has taught me so much, different things like that. But it's crazy to think that a lot of people are like that, I guess.
Yeah, in the world today, for sure, there's a lot of people that don't want to give compliments for the reason you said, and it's also just because they don't want to boost up another person.
Yeah, no, yeah.
They don't want to boost their
Exactly.
ego. They don't want to, which I think is ridiculous.
I do too.
I feel like I have a, I sometimes can have an ego myself, but
Oh yeah. I mean, we all can.
I love, like, when I give compliments out, it boosts my own ego too.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, I don't know why people like.
No, exactly. I have this this goal thing on my wall. I have short term, medium term, and then long term goals, and I have sticky notes on all of them with different goals. And every day I'll put a sticky note from each category on this piece of paper, and those are the things I have to focus on every day. And then I also have a few like non-negotiables, so things I have to do every day. And one of those is I have to compliment 3 people, and I've been doing this for the past probably 5 weeks now. And
Just 3? That doesn't seem like too many.
oh my goodness. Like, so, but no, sometimes I'll try to do even people I don't know.
Right.
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 It's not like I'm going to my best friend.
That's
like,
what your goal should be. It
Yes.
should be 3 people you don't know at
and
all.
usually that's what it is. Sorry. I should have been more specific. But like, not only has it improved my social skills and walking up to somebody I might not know or whatever, but like it gives you this feeling of like, oh my gosh, like I just did something that was kind of hard, right? Walking up to some random girl, for example, that I don't know who she is, and I just said she looked pretty today, right? Like that was hard, and I did it, and she probably felt good. I feel good. Like that's a win-win. Like I just did a
Right.
good thing, right? And I think I think it's something a lot of people should do more of, is just complimenting things like that. They make a difference, and it surprises me that people don't do it as much. I
And don't
guess.
expect one back either.
No.
That's the other thing, people, they want to compliment somebody because they want one back.
No.
Like,
Yeah, that's
You
different.
got to do it out of the kindness of your heart.
Yes. It's got to be genuine too.
Very genuine,
Don't fake it. Like being genuine in
But
those.
you're a very genuine dude.
Yeah.
So you don't have that.
No.
You don't have that issue.
No. Yeah.
And like me, I'm just very straightforward.
Yeah,
I kind of,
exactly.
I just
Say
tell
it
it
how
like
it
it
is.
is, and that's
Yep.
about it. That's
Yeah.
all you get from me.
That's a good thing though. I like that.
Some people don't like it.
Well, then I don't know what to say about
There's a
those
lot of people out there that think I'm kind of an asshole. So
I don't know.
just at first sight, I
Okay.
kind of give off that vibe. But people have said that. I don't think so. Close people to me
I
don't think so.
so.
But have you thought of anybody else? Is that kind of where you're?
Oh yeah, I think that's a big question. I'm sure if I really thought
I guess
about it,
you said a few more. So I guess you said
Yeah,
your
like,
2
I
main
have-
ones, and then you kind of.
I have a
named
few
more.
other people in Sioux City, a few in Norfolk that definitely still influence me. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you naming me in there.
Oh, of
That was-
course. I
that
mean
was-
it too. Seriously.
I know you do. I know you didn't just do it for the podcast.
Yeah. No. Of course.
That's
not.
good. Well, I try to give you genuine advice, and sometimes it's good, and sometimes it's not going to be good.
It's advice.
Yeah, it is. Gonna kind of move into some more serious questions.
Yeah.
I hope you're ready for that.
Yeah. Let's do it.
So at your age, like, what is your view of the world right now?
Oh.
Just in general, like, do you think it's better than when you were a little bit younger? Do you think it's moving in the right direction? What's your outlook for the future?
So.
And I'm not even talking political. I'm just the world in general.
Which I was gonna say that honestly, I don't really know much or associate myself much with politics.
We'll talk about politics in a minute.
Yeah.
But,
So don't know a whole
just
lot.
your worldview at the moment.
Like my generation stuff like that.
Just how you see the world is in your eyes right now.
Okay.
In a good spot, in a bad spot.
very
Do you think there's
broad.
room
Yeah.
for improvement?
I mean, economically and stuff. I don't know if that's kind of politics.
However
like,
route you want to take it.
I mean, I think like the way people are right now definitely mind boggles me. You
In
know,
what way?
Like getting jobs, stuff like that. Like it blows my mind. And honestly, like I think about this a lot, and I don't know if this is egotistical of me or whatever, but like I know that I'm a mature kid. I have my head screwed on straight, and so for me to see the way I would say a very high percentage of my generation acts and whatnot, it really blows my mind, and it sometimes it drives me crazy. Like I can't stand some things.
Are you saying like how they act in person, online,
Yeah, yeah,
both?
both. Just
Can you give some examples?
gestures, the way they talk sometimes, treat other people, different things like that.
Like in what way? Treating other people, like give just one quick example of like how you think that they're in a bad way, like they're not treating people well,
Yeah, maybe, or
like
just
they don't care.
super careless. Yeah, super careless. We'll just say something that they might have put no thought in their head, to say, which everybody does this. Like, not, I shouldn't say everybody, but a lot of people do this. Like, they'll just say something without thinking about it at all. And that could have been totally demoralizing to the other guy, right? I see a lot more of that though in kids my age. Like, they will just say or do things that are crazy. And another thing, like I'm not a partier, nothing like that. And I know that's more of a norm, but so different things like that too. Just, I don't know, just doesn't blow my mind, but it's just hard for me to see.
Do you think that social media has caused some of that in-person stuff? Do you think that because you can be whatever you want to be on social media, that some people think in your generation that they can just go say that to anybody without any repercussions?
I think social media has changed the generation stuff in so many ways, so many different ways, but I don't know. I don't know that social media would have a huge effect on the way people treat other people. Now, I could be completely wrong, and I honestly probably am, but
I personally think it does, but that's that's my opinion.
it's something I honestly have never really thought about. I can definitely, I mean, social media influences us in so many different ways, right? So I can definitely see how. Yeah, I can definitely see how it can change one's attitude towards other people. Like, if you're watching, what's the one guy's name that people, I don't know, he went to jail or something. This guru.
Andrew Tate.
Andrew Tate, right? Like if there's a kid my age watching Andrew Tate and just becomes addicted to the guy, right? And then he starts walking up to people like, "Get out of my way, don't mess with me." Like
The problem
I can see that.
Now, I don't mind Andrew Tate,
Which I don't know
but
much
you
about
have
him.
to, but you have to take it just like any content you're receiving into your brain. You have to take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly.
You got to take it and put it against your values. Do you think that this is something that you believe in? Blah blah blah. And it's just, I don't think, and maybe there's no filter. Like people just don't have that filter of things coming in. They take the things coming in and they think it's gospel and then move with it.
Yes. And I think my generation especially is very vulnerable to social media in that aspect now. And I didn't mean anything mean towards Andrew Tate. I was using that as an example.
No, I know.
Of how like social media can have an influence on one's words or actions towards other people.
He has said some off the cuff stuff. So
No,
I mean,
he has,
you're not wrong by
Yeah.
saying that, but yeah.
But so yeah, actually, social media definitely can affect us in those ways. But I guess that's I don't know. I don't have a huge world view. I'm so hyper focused on like the business stuff that sometimes I forget to.
No, you're still
think
young
about.
enough. You don't really have to think about it quite yet. You don't have kids. You don't have a wife. you
Yeah,
don't,
exactly. So I don't know that I have a huge view on all that, but I do know like people. I do pay a lot of attention to people. I don't know why. It's just something I do, and I've just learned a lot in those aspects.
And that's something I really stress to Christian, to my son Christian. He sometimes he'll get a little overzealous on the games. You know how gaming chats can be. He's to that age where you remember being that age where you think you can say whatever you want.
Yep. Yeah. Be a jerk.
We'll be a jerk, but then he's talking with his friends. So
yeah.
I still to this day say some. You always say the meanest stuff to your
100%,
friends.
100%. That's why they're your friends.
But when it comes to like, some of the words that used to get said in gaming lobbies.
100%.
Some of them can be racist words. And it's common. So I have to make sure that I'm very diligent in saying, we just don't say that, and I don't want to hear that word ever coming out of your mouth. And I explain why. Like I'm a big proponent of explaining things to him, whereas some parents won't do that.
Yeah.
They'll just say, "Oh, just don't say that.
Yep.
You can't ever say that." And I explain it to him because I'm like, if I was him, I would want to know why I shouldn't be doing something.
Dude, kids always want to know why. Seriously, I mean.
Well, then they understand, and then they probably won't do it again.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I shouldn't say. for the most part.
It's more likely that they won't. Yeah.
But he's got his friends saying it and all these things and other, and not just that kind of stuff, but all different kinds of
No.
things.
Yes.
And I tell him to bring down the swearing when I don't. Cursing is not a big thing to me. I'm okay with it as long as you're using it in context
Yeah.
and you're not doing it at school.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
don't do it at school. Don't do it around other parents. Like, know your setting.
Yes. Exactly.
Right. And then don't be using it like every other word.
Yeah. Yeah.
What if you're like, F,
Yeah.
whatever, once or twice? I'm not going to get mad about it.
I have a very similar view on that. Yeah.
I think that, and then they say there's studies that people that do curse a lot have a higher IQ. And I don't do it a lot. Like I said, in the right setting.
Yeah.
You get a few beers in me, I might start swearing a little more.
No, me too. Me too.
You too with the beers, huh?
Oh, not the beers.
Yeah.
I thought
When you get excited.
Yeah,
Chase
yes.
doesn't drink.
I do not.
He does, and I'm not joking there. He doesn't he doesn't partake.
I do not.
Very
Very rare, but yep.
That was a very, very broad question. So I apologize for that.
No, that's good.
Do you see a good outlook for the future though? Do you see let's say, so Christian would be the next generation under you. How do you see, you've dealt with him a little bit.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
I think Christian's a good kid. I really do. I don't know him super well, but it's like from working with him and stuff, he's a bright kid, right?
Right.
But like one thing, like I see my sister. My sister is 14 years old.
She's 3 years older than him then.
Yep. I see her with her friends all the time and stuff, and her and I are completely different people. I love my sister, I do. But this is just being honest. Like, she's more of a follower, I'm more of a leader, and that's okay. We all have our own whatever category we fall into, I guess. Whatever. I'd love for her to become more of a leader, though. I think everybody should work on that. But like I see her
She's
with
got
her
plenty
friends.
of time.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah.
Exactly. I see her with her friends and just the way that her friends act. A lot of kids her age, and it just blows my mind. And it could be I'm such a unique individual, I guess, that it's hard for me to look at these things. That's what something I always think about. Like,
Well, you got to remember, you're probably, I've said this before, but I think you're 3 to 4 years in mental maturity than your age.
exactly, and so I think that's what makes some of this so tough for me. Like comparing me to
And when
other
it comes
people.
to certain things, I don't want you listeners to think that I think he's like this perfect.
No.
kid. He does have his,
I have my flaws.
there
for
are
sure.
certain things, but his mental maturity for his values in his work ethic, things like that, is way above his pay grade, I guess you want to call it.
Yeah.
So that's what I want to make sure you guys aren't thinking I'm just thinking he's
No.
the bee's
And
knees.
I have this conversation. My best friend, Jonathan, him and I are very similar in this aspect. Like, we're both just very different compared to a lot of kids our age. And so it makes it hard for us to like try to understand why they are the way they are, or like why the way, my sister and her friends are the way they are. And so it's hard for me to have an opinion, or like, I don't want to judge them, but on that stuff when I'm just a very unique person compared to them. Right. So it's hard. It's just hard to.
You also think about the consequences before you do something.
Yes.
Which I think there are some of the younger generation that don't.
Mm-hmm.
They just
Definitely.
act. They act before they think.
Yes.
And you really gotta. And I was that way. Yeah, and I lost my way a little bit in college. I started drinking a little bit. And you start just making decisions. You don't really think about the consequences. You're like, I'm gonna do this, and I'll figure it out later.
I was that way in high school. With my words though, I would say things to people, usually friends, usually close friends. Like there's still a boundary to be had though with even your best friends. But sometimes I would say a lot of out of pocket stuff to them, like trying to be funny or joke around because I wanted to be funny. And that's something I've really had to get better at, was like learning to think before I speak.
Yeah, you can be funny. You just got to be careful getting too personal.
Exactly.
So you can be funny, you can make fun of certain things, but if you get too personal, that's when it gets. I've done that before.
Yeah.
Too.
So that's something that I've worked on, and we all have our own things, right? That we got to work on. So yeah.
I think you're doing just fine.
Really good.
So we're gonna get a little bit into politics. I know you said you don't really pay attention to a whole lot.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I have my thoughts.
You are registered to vote, though, aren't you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So we do have an election year approaching next year.
Yep.
How do you feel you are represented by your politicians? Like, how do you feel right now being represented by your state government and the federal government at the moment?
I have
Do you feel you're being represented well?
Honestly, I have no idea.
Yeah.
I know that gas prices kind of suck. They're actually getting better right now in Sioux City.
They go up and
they're
down.
down to like 289 right now, which is insane. But in turn, anything besides gas prices, I honestly don't.
That's okay.
I don't pay much attention. I think part of that is just because I know a lot of it's out of my control, so I try not to pay a lot of attention to it. But I also just don't care.
Do you think your vote doesn't count?
No,
you one of
no.
those?
I think every vote matters.
So you kind of are in control.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. In that sense, I'm in control. But like, if I was to vote for, I don't even know. We'll just say Biden again, right? I don't know who's all running right now or whatever. But we'll just say I voted for Biden, like, and he gets it, right? Even though I voted for him, I still don't really have a say so in the decisions he makes while he's in office.
Exactly.
So it's making
you
your
have
best,
to base it off of what his campaign
your best
was.
judgment on what you know beforehand.
Right.
So yeah, I have a say so in maybe who gets that spot, but I don't have much of a say so in what they actually do in their spot, which is why I think I just kind of disassociate myself with a lot of it. It's just because I do think a lot of it's out of my control. And it's that goes with a lot of things. It's not just your president. It could be with picking a CEO for a new company, right? It's your best judgment, and then a lot of things are. Yeah, that might be a bit different with businesses, but just a lot of things are out of your control. So yeah, dude, I just don't know.
Do you like the way the political system is set up? Do you like the two-party system? Do you like?
I think so. I mean, yeah, I
So
think so.
here's going to be my advice to you with the election you're coming up and you're wanting to vote.
Okay.
Get a little more knowledge into
Yeah, I probably should.
who you're going to vote for.
I probably should.
Because you have more control than you think. Because you vote for president and then you vote for House, Senate, things like that. Those are the people that are going to help influence. Yeah.
Okay.
So I would just you don't have to do a lot. Just make sure you're educated before you.
Yeah, I was talking to another RA. He's the smartest political guy I know. It's ridiculous. And he's an RA. And I was telling him how I'd like to start learning more on politics just because that is a gray area in my brain. And it is something that I should, try to fill up more of, learn more about, because
and you got to be careful what kind of content you're consuming when it comes to political content.
That's another scary thing.
What I do is I try to get both parties' takes from different sides. I'll listen to Fox News and I'll listen to CNN and then I'll listen to this Democratic journalist and I'll listen to this Republican journalist and I'll try to. Usually, if you listen to both sides, you can find out where the middle ground is. Because one's going to tell the right side of the story, one's going to tell the left side of the story, and then you, in your own mind, as long as you can comprehend it all, you can kind of put it together. And like me, I'm a Republican, but I'd be more on like the middle right.
See, and that's what, based off of what I know, that's where I would put myself.
Yeah.
But that's just, I don't know a whole lot. I know the difference between Republican and Democrat and the different little nitty gritty things, but I think that's also where I'd put myself based off what I know. But again, I don't know a whole lot.
And I feel like there can be compromises made that aren't being made.
Yeah.
Because it's really it's either this or that.
Pretty much. Yeah.
There's no discussion of any kind of middle ground. And I think that's where when I get to when I talked about the two-party system, that's why I'm not I mean, I know it's necessary, but they're not doing it the right way.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
okay.
No, I'm not a big political buff. I'm not gonna be able to sit here and dissect everything for you.
Yeah.
I can just tell you how I feel, and that's how I feel about it. I'm definitely a Republican. I have Republican views. You're not gonna see me, I'm not even sure what to bring up, but
yeah.
Like I said, I don't want to get too political here, but
yeah, no, I understand.
I just wanted to see what your thoughts were as a young person, because I know there's a lot of young people that are in the same boat you are. They just don't know. And then they just go with either what their parents did,
that's a big one.
They go with what they hear on the one side. If somebody voted for Biden, they're like, well, he's gonna make sure we all have money through the whole college tuition reimbursement and blah blah blah, and it's gonna be great. They're gonna fix everything up. Well, that's not always the way to go.
And see, that's one thing I've learned, the United States has a good government system compared to other countries, right?
Yeah.
Okay. See, so I know that. Let's go.
I knew that.
Okay. But I guess
freedom, man.
Yeah. But one thing I've noticed, and
There's a lot of
again,
countries that have freedom. I shouldn't say it like that. There's a lot of
no,
countries
no,
that do
no,
have freedom,
yeah.
but
We just
yeah,
have a good system.
yeah.
One thing I've noticed, and again, I'm not very smart politically though, is like younger people are definitely way more easily influenced by those kind of things, right? Like if Biden says he's going to make college free, well, then you're probably going to get a freaking ton of college people voting for you because of that. But like, that's because we're easily influenced. We don't know the bigger picture. Whereas your people that are a bit older, more mature, actually do know the bigger picture, which even then, even 30-year-olds probably, they might not have their head screwed on straight and know everything either. Which is another reason I've just kind of, I shouldn't say that because I definitely can learn. I've just never made the effort to because I don't know that I care enough. But like,
It's not too difficult. You
Yeah.
just read a little bit about it.
but all I was really trying to say was just I think that a lot of people, especially younger people, are definitely a lot more easily influenced with
I would agree with
comments
you.
like that. And so, that I shouldn't say that messes with voting, but in a sense it does.
Well, it's halfway. A lot of the both sides are putting out propaganda for
Yep,
both
exactly,
parties, and
exactly.
you, like I said, you have to decipher it
Mhm.
because you can't just take what the left or the right says as gospel.
Yeah.
You have to know a little bit about the world,
Mhm.
the world a little bit,
Mhm.
and be able to decipher it yourself. Like when it comes, I'm gonna. This is the only one that's coming to my head. I'm having trouble thinking of something else. It's gonna be kind of controversial. I'm not gonna give my full opinion on it, but when it comes to abortion,
Yep.
and the left saying do whatever we want, the right saying
No.
don't do it at all.
Yep.
In my opinion, there's got to be somewhere in there where there's some middle ground where whether it's you can do it from the first 3 months, the first trimester, blah blah blah.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
not saying
I know
what my
you mean.
thoughts are. I'm just saying there's got to be somewhere in there that we can
Get the best of both
stop
worlds
talking.
in a way.
Well,
Or?
the best, not the best of both worlds, but move past it. Like there's more important things going on in the world.
Oh, you're saying we get
Than to be-
stuck
than
on
to be
things,
yeah.
and it just wastes valuable time, and
resources.
energy. Yeah. Okay. No, I
And
can
trust me,
understand that.
I get the people that truly care, like the women should be able to do what they want with their bodies.
Uh-huh.
But then I also see the side, like that's what I'm saying. I see both sides.
Mhm.
So and there's got to be more than just me out there that feel
100%.
that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it gets tiring to. That's all we're
Yeah.
discussing.
Yeah, no, 100%. I understand.
Yeah.
And I agree. There are so much bigger things that we should be focusing on.
And I'm
Not
sorry
that's
that
not
that
an
was-
important topic,
To
but
the listeners, I'm sorry that's the one I brought up, but that was the only one that was coming to my head at this very second.
yeah, no, I think that was a good example though. Yeah, no, that was good.
We may get some hate for that one, but that's okay. I didn't give any kind of full opinion, but that is
Yeah.
my opinion. Is that there's got to be somewhere where we can kind of
middle-
discuss and meet
yeah.
in the middle. That's kind of what I had down. I know that you're kind of looking at getting some side hustles
Yeah,
kind of going on.
yeah.
You want to talk a little bit about some of those that you're wanting to do
Sure.
and give little
So-
hints out to what you're trying to accomplish?
Yeah, no, definitely. So, I've been doing a lot of research on not like, what best side hustle makes the most money. Like, it's not like I'm looking up that crap. I'm really trying to understand different business models, pros and cons to them, different things like that. And something I've definitely learned over the past few weeks is that service-based businesses are a lot more, I guess I could say feasible. They're a lot more optimal, and also for my situation would be a lot more simple than jumping into a non-service based business.
What he means by service based is not maybe your traditional sense. He wants to probably provide
Provide a
video
service.
editing service.
Or
He
yeah,
wants to
sure,
do
exactly, yes.
stuff like that. So
A cleaning service, a power washing service, different things like that, opposed to running an online e-commerce store selling T-shirts
or building websites or
yes.
Yeah.
No, I would say building websites for somebody is a service-based business,
yeah.
in my opinion. Just there's your brick and mortar type stuff, and
I
then
didn't
there's
think you were gonna go into the cleaning and the power washing. I thought you were more going towards what you were.
which I am. Those
Right,
were
right,
examples. Those were examples.
I was talking about you.
yeah.
What you're gonna do?
So
you're
okay,
gonna
so
start a
that-
power
so
washing business.
Service-based businesses
I
is what
get
I'm
it.
looking into,
Well, yeah.
right? So now, the service-based businesses I'm looking into are one. I have this, mind for editing and graphic design. I love doing the work. It's so fun turning a video into something way more beyond what you can imagine that video could be.
Did you ever think about like direct movies? Is that something you ever
No,
thought about?
I don't think I would enjoy that.
I had a time in my life where I almost went to college for that.
Really?
script writing and direct.
Wow.
Yeah, I had applied to 2 places and then decided against it.
That's really neat. I did
Well,
not
now you
know
kind of
that.
see why
Okay.
the
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
you
No,
kind of see where I'm going with some
yeah,
of this other
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Where yeah,
For me personally, I think what I find so unique about editing for like individuals like yourself or editing my videos or somebody like that is every every individual's different, right? They portray themselves in a different way. They have unique aspects about themselves, right? And when you get to edit something that they made, like you can figure out what those unique things are, what it is about them that stands out, and really with the power of editing, like emphasize those things, bring them even more out of them to make them a more unique character. And you can just turn like I said, a video into something.
a production.
Yeah, like whereas like a video, movies are awesome, yes, but it's scripted. It's not always the true person's personality,
Organic.
right? They're acting. Not that acting isn't cool or anything. It's just there's something different with editing for somebody, right?
And it's also something new every time.
Yes,
Which
exactly.
is why I like the business that I'm in. Is it's something different every day.
Mhm.
I'm not doing the same
Yeah.
monotonous thing every single time.
Exactly. So that's one thing is video editing, graphic design service. Maybe even expanding that to like social media marketing for an influencer or social media. What's the word? Social media, not control, like literally running their social media
Like
platforms.
a publicist.
In a way, like I'm doing their Instagram, I'm doing their Twitter, all that stuff. That's all in my control. I'm doing it for them. I can't think of the word for whatever reason. But things in that area, I guess. That's a big one that I'm
I can't think of the
getting
word.
towards.
I know
Yeah.
it's called something, but
Social
I can't.
media.
We'll just call
runner.
it social media marketing.
Yeah, something like that. Um, Another thing I've been thinking about is starting up a cleaning business. And
Really?
I this I
Because
don't
you
know.
did that what for
So
one summer?
Yeah, I did. So I cleaned for Zach for a summer in his office, and I was just thinking of because there's two different kinds of
But you
service-based
worked
businesses.
for a cleaning service too, didn't you?
Serpro?
Yeah, wasn't that, or is that more like a?
That's fire and restoration
Yeah, I
cleanup.
suppose.
So yeah,
Yeah.
so I mean, if there's water damage, we go in,
Yeah,
clean it up,
I
kind of.
I didn't think of it
But
that
it's
way.
not like an actual like you're
Right.
not cleaning a desk or
You're not putting pledge on the desk.
No,
And
yeah.
waving it down.
Anyways, but I was thinking, so there's two different kinds of service-based businesses. There's your in-person service-based businesses, and then there's online or remote service-based businesses. And so with this editing stuff, whatnot, that's all remote. So I was trying to think of different ideas also for in-person service-based businesses, because again, I can think up 10 different ideas. I'm sure I can figure out a great business model for them, but like I can't jump into 10 things at once. It's just not doable right now. And so I'm
Well,
trying
and the cash flow for some of that startup.
yeah. Like, so I'm trying to pick one or two things and figure it out and start, right? That's the hardest thing to do always. It's just that first step. And then I can maybe go from there. So I kind of got my head set on this, remote one, the video editing and all that. But for an in-person one, I've really been thinking about either a cleaning service or power washing. Now, the thing about power washing is there's actually a lot more that goes into it than you think, but it's also simple. Like I could just take a power washer to residential homes and be like, hey, $20, power wash your driveway, whatever. That's fine. But once you start really growing that business, like there's insurance for that, right? There's different things. And so I don't want to go in that direction yet, at least. But power washing is a profitable business. It really is. But cleaning service, right? I was just thinking in my room for like, I don't know, sometimes I'll just sit in my chair in my dorm room for a few hours. Just I call it me time.
It's good.
I do it in mornings a lot.
Yep.
Or at night in bed when I can't sleep.
It's good to sit and think because then that's how you
And I
you
was
get
like,
your day going, and that's how you come up with new ideas.
yeah. And I was like, just what's another, service-based business? It'd be just a simple startup and something I could really do just fine, my time, whatever. I was like, well, I cleaned Zach's office once. What if I could like just, clean offices? It wouldn't be too difficult. Like maybe it's just something I do on the weekends, whatever. And so I've been thinking about it. I've been doing a lot of, so I'll go on Google Maps and maybe I'll type in financial businesses in the Google Maps search bar, and it'll give me a list of every financial based place in Sioux City, for example. And so I have this list right now, and I haven't decided if I'm going to call them or go there and offer this cleaning service, right? And something I've learned, and I love sales. I don't know why. I love sales. My gosh, that word gets me excited. And I've just been thinking of different ways, like, why are they gonna pick me? Like, why are they gonna have me go clean their office on the weekends or whatever? So I've been really trying to figure out different, not pitches per se or whatever, but like different things I could say when I call them.
Your elevator pitch, basically.
Yeah. And so it's just been a fun process. I haven't called anybody yet. I'm thinking I'm not gonna start on that stuff till next semester after Christmas. But I think that's the other thing I'm gonna get started up.
It's all about the ideas first. You got to have the ideas before you can. So you're in the right direction.
And a little plan.
Well, you got to have a plan.
Yeah. I don't think some people. I used to do this all the time. I used to want to do drop shipping. If anybody's heard of that, it's basically just
It's the worst thing in the world.
yeah, e-commerce.
I got to do it for
stuff.
a month, and it was just a headache.
Yeah.
I see where the money could be made.
Oh yeah, for
but
sure.
you really got to like put your full-time effort into
Yeah,
it.
and that's, again, social media makes it seem so much easier than it really is. They show you the good. They make it seem all great, but they don't.
If
don't
you
see
see
all the
a
bad.
side hustle on social media, it's already been exhausted.
Mhm.
People have already perfected it. You're not going to have a good time getting into it.
Exactly.
I can just give you guys all that advice for right now.
Yeah. It's yeah. But like I'd get in these phases. I'd like learn a bunch of crap. I'd spend 10 hours in a day learning about stuff, and then I'd never take that first step. And then it'd be the same thing the next week. Well, I got to learn more, and then I can do it. Whereas now it's like, okay, get a little bit of information, have an idea of how this is all going to work. And then just start calling people, dude. Like, you got to take that step. If you don't,
Pick up the phone.
Yeah, right. So that's where I'm at right now. I gotta, not that I don't want to take the first step. I think it's kind of a weird time for me to start till
like I told you, it took me 10 years
yeah,
to get to this point.
yeah.
It took a lot of planning. I know that's a long time, but there was other things. I had children born in there.
Mm-hmm.
I started. My wife started a business. I took over a business.
Yep.
There's a lot of stuff in there, but finally, I was like, it's time.
Yeah.
We're kind of settled. It's time for me to branch out and finally do what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great thing to do. Like the power washing, that'd be minimal.
And the big reason I want to,
setup.
yeah. And the big reason I want to do it is I've diversifying your portfolio, right? Real estate and financial planning are my two big things, or financial planning and advising are my two big things I really want to get into, especially
And
real
all
estate.
those involve testing.
Yes, real estate, not real estate sales, real estate investing. I love real estate investing, not just because of the money that can be made, but the business itself. I just love it. And so that's honestly one of my biggest end goals. But like, I think there's a lot of importance to diversifying your portfolio, having a couple different streams of income in case if the real estate market crashes, well, then it's a good thing I have some of these other things that I can lean on for a little bit.
Nowadays, it's very important to have not all your eggs in one basket.
Exactly. That's a very important thing to remember. Not all your eggs in
I'm
one basket.
even trying to start doing that a little bit. I mean, obviously the podcast is going to take
Yep.
the streaming and the podcast
It takes time.
is not going to lift off anytime soon, but at least it's a start to something.
Yes, exactly.
And I've got some other things in the works too, but it definitely, you're right. You can't, with the way the economy is and the way things are going, you can't put all your eggs. Like I can't even. Insurance is a great game, an awesome game, but it's also right now a very volatile industry. Like I got into it at probably the most volatile time it could be in, and I'll work through that change. But until things kind of even out, I gotta have something to not fall back on, but have there ready to go.
Exactly. And with me starting up on this YouTube stuff again too, like maybe that will eventually be another good stream of income. We don't know. YouTube's a very saturated market, whatever business, whatever you want to call it. But it's just something I've started to realize. I want to diversify a little bit so that I have different things. I think that's just super important. And I'm doing it in things, I don't know that I shouldn't say I'm going to enjoy the cleaning thing, but maybe that turns into something where I'm just the guy that runs it and I have people doing it all for me, right? Like it's a profitable business. It really is. So like, I don't know. We'll see.
That's gonna be the hard part, is finding help.
Yeah.
That's my wife's running into that right now with the daycare. Just finding you know, we're trying to expand, but we can't expand without like we have the resources to expand except for
It's so crazy.
people. Yeah.
Blows my mind.
Yeah, it's just nuts right now. I think it'll change. I think things are going to move forward.
Yeah, I hope.
In a good way.
Yeah, they should. They should. They really should. We'll see. I don't know.
I think 2024 is going to be a big year for an election, and I'm not saying we need a Republican. I'm just saying we need somebody who is going to move the country in the right direction. We're not there right now.
No.
So
that I agree with that.
yeah.
No, I agree, and I hope 2024 is a good year. I'm excited for 2024. I think it's going to be a big year for me.
Here.
Oh, I know.
It was just summer. Like
I just started getting used to writing 2023 down on all my papers.
Right.
God, I kept writing 22 for so long.
Yeah.
I got to freaking adjust again.
I get used to it pretty fast because I work with I work with dates every day. But yeah, it does take me at least a couple weeks.
It does.
Before.
It takes time, man.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, my kids are getting older. There's time. I just.
What's that like?
Kids getting older.
I mean, you're a dad.
You start to see your mortality. Even though I'm young, you just start to see like, oh man, here in 7 years, Christian's going to be 18 going off to college. And it's like, you know, we're already halfway past his time at home. And it's like, man, you really start to think about cherishing the time that you do have. You know, we're done having kids. We made that decision because I really didn't want to keep getting older. And then you got to think another 18 years. And I'm thinking, man, you know, I got to really cherish the time I have with them while they're here. So we've been doing a lot more as a family, and it goes back to the balance.
Yep.
Me adding this and streaming, we had to really balance out where our time is spent. So we've done a lot better job of actually doing, you know, I don't spend a whole lot of time on, you know, our phones a lot anymore, where we used to, you know, or watch TV for how many hours. Now we try to do it together. We always, one of the staples that have always been in our household is having dinner together.
Yeah,
always.
It's in my
we
house
always
too.
make sure we always sat down, except for tonight.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's going to be times where we don't get to do that.
I think that's very important, though.
It's a hugely important thing because then they get to see that, the kids get to see it. You know, there is a family unit.
I did that growing up, and I think like I have friends that don't do that, and it just blows my mind. It's like, whoa, families don't eat together.
You gotta have the family unit together at least one time all together in a day.
Yeah,
in my opinion, discuss 100%. Your days. Discuss, you know, Kylene and I also, we talked to them, even though Declan's he just turned 5 on the 16th. It's like we still discuss the changes in our life that are going on. Like if there's something important happening in our life, we make sure they know. We don't, you know, we might hide from them for a little bit. Yeah. Because we're still discussing it. Once we have our decision made and her and I talk, there's not a decision that gets made that we don't discuss together. And then we discuss it with the kids. Yep. And then other people get to know.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's really good.
I think it's very important because they have to know they're a part of the family unit too.
Yeah. Yeah. I have a question for you. I ponder a lot. I think a lot. And, you know, I'm so excited to start a family someday.
Yeah.
That really is one of my biggest things I'm excited for. But one of the things I think about all the time, especially since I'm so business and money minded, is like, one, when's a good time to start a family? Like I want to start a family younger, but at the same time, I think it's a good idea to get financially somewhat set before you start a family, right? And then another thing, like, how do I word this? No. Let's start with that. Like, when do you think not is a good time to have kids, but like, do you think it's smarter to get a little more financially set so that maybe when you do have a family, you can enjoy some more time, whether it be vacations or stuff with them, because you have that money to play around with instead of starting a family younger and then maybe you're not struggling, but it's harder to maybe go on some of those trips or whatnot with them. If you know what I'm asking.
There's never an opportune time to have kids. That's the first answer I'm going to give you. You can be the most financially stable, but then it's going to hit you mentally. It's going to hit you somewhere else. But as far as being financially stable, I would obviously recommend, you know, having some money saved up. But there are people out there that can't save the money. So, I mean, if you feel ready, go for it. You know, don't do it now.
Yeah, I was just gonna say this isn't me talking.
But if you're, you know, I would get married first. before you bring kids into
Oh,
the
for sure.
picture.
No,
I would make
definitely.
sure that you spend a year or two, at least a year, with that person.
Nope. Yep. And I agree with that as
Married.
well. Yep. 100%.
You see a lot of people getting divorced
Yeah.
with kids in the picture. You know, my parents got divorced when I was young, but I have a wonderful stepdad that I call dad.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's mom and dad,
Mhm.
and that's who they
Yep.
are.
Yep.
So I was lucky. I was lucky that I was still had
That.
the whole family unit.
Yeah. Yeah.
But getting into, I don't know, you're never going to be ready.
Mhm.
But definitely spend the
I
time
understand that. Yeah.
because you want to make sure that you two are compatible before you start bringing other life
No,
into
definitely.
into the picture.
Yeah. And I mean, I agree 100%.
And you said vacations and stuff. You don't necessarily have to have all this lavish money to be able to go on vacations. Yeah, it's cool, but you could just go to the park.
Oh,
You could,
yeah, for sure.
You know, and
Yeah.
then granted, vacations are awesome, but
No. That is a great point.
sometimes vacations can be more stressful than they are good.
Yeah.
And then you don't really get that quality time.
No, I understand that. But one of my this is kind of vacation though, but one of my biggest memories growing up was going camping at Pierce with the family.
But that's simple. That's nice and simple.
It is, and that's something I would love to do with my family.
It's
so,
probably
yeah,
because it was
little
it
things.
was a low stress
Yeah.
environment.
Yeah.
Your dad wasn't, having to wrangle everybody
I'm
together.
not a beach guy. I'd rather camp. So no, 100%. Simpler things are good.
We took the kids to Adventureland over the summer.
Oh, I've never been
So I was stressing out about it.
there. Yeah,
I'm like, this is gonna be
scary,
hectic.
long.
It was great. It was great. It was awesome. We made sure we stayed right there. We were able to walk it. We didn't have to drive too far from
Yeah,
or whatever. So it was great. It ended up being a less stressful situation than I expected.
That's good.
But yeah, there's really, to answer your question again, there's really no opportune time.
Yeah.
Like you're never gonna be fully ready for when it happens.
I gotta get into a relationship before any of that happens,
right.
anyway. So,
Was
did you
there-
know that?
What?
I've never had a girlfriend. Did you know that?
You and I have discussed it.
Yeah.
I think
Almost 20 years old. My
never
sister.
had a girlfriend. I mean, you've had.
Yeah, almost. That was close to one.
That's what I thought. I was gonna
But-
say yeah.
Yeah, whatever. Whatever.
I
It's
guess
funny though.
you kids don't make it to it. It takes you guys a while to make it official. Right?
No, that was not me. That was a situation. that was
Is
out
that
of
what
my
they're
control.
calling a situationship
Yep,
nowadays?
yep.
Yeah.
It was an interesting 8 months for me. Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It's funny though. My sister, who's 14, she's got a boyfriend now. So as an older brother, that's kind of hard, especially an older brother that doesn't have a girlfriend. That's just kind of weird, but it's interesting. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
You were a busy kid though. You didn't really. I mean,
Yeah. I was just so focused on me, like growing.
it
as
might
a
have been
person.
better that you didn't.
Yeah, I think it was a good thing, really good thing. Helped me mature myself and learn more about myself growing up. Whereas having, like, I'll be honest, when I was in that situationship or whatever for like, I don't know, 7 months in college, those 7 months I definitely fell off in terms of focusing on myself more. And so reflecting back, right, like now I know that's not something I want to happen. Like I need to have that balance of still being able to focus on myself and a relationship or whatever that was, but still, so it was a good learning thing for me. But I do think it's a good thing that growing up, I was never in one because it definitely helped me focus on myself more and learn a lot more about myself.
You're also going to find out as you get out of college and things like that, you can have as many goals and as many plans as you want. Those are all going to change in 5 years.
Yeah, heard that.
10 years. They're going to be ever changing. So just make sure, and I know you're going to be, but just make sure you can adapt.
Yep.
And change.
Adaptability.
Don't be so focused on something that you can't put it off for a year. You can't,
Mm-hmm.
I would have never got to this point where I'm at now if I wouldn't have been able to adapt and put off. And,
Yeah.
if I would have just jumped into this 6 years ago, it probably would have been the most horrible thing that was ever put out as a podcast or a stream or whatever. And so far, we've gotten good feedback from the people that
Yeah,
have
I think
listened
it's
to
been
the Useless Assumptions, which is the other podcast. And this is the first recording that I've done for Touching Base, but it will be the second episode. So you guys will be hearing this as the second episode, but woo. And we'll get Chase back on again. I think we're probably going to wrap it up there, but I do appreciate you coming in.
No,
I
this
know
was
you
awesome.
were excited for this.
I was excited. I love if I'm sitting behind a microphone. It's a blast. I had
It's a
lot of
different
fun.
feeling, isn't it?
Is.
Just
It
to be
is.
able to get
Yeah. This is a fun experience, especially with you. You did a great job.
Well, I try.
Really did.
Well, so
No.
I hope you guys enjoy it. Like I said, this will be the second episode. Hopefully, we're gonna keep these coming out hopefully once a week, just like the other podcast. And again, Chase, thank you for coming in.
Yes. No. Thanks for
We'll
having
have
me.
you back. I think people will enjoy it,
Heck yeah.
and we'll see you guys next time.